Morning. Happy Thursday. Good morning, Barbara. Um, here we are, almost end of the week. Um, maybe a bit cooler today than earlier in the week. It's certainly cloudier. I actually was out doing some gardening yesterday, which I haven't for a while because it's been super hot, and I usually kind of give up on the garden by August. But this year I got such a late start that I'm kind of staying with it because I haven't really gotten too much from it. I've got a lot of jalapenos and some cucumbers, but haven't really gotten too many tomatoes yet. They're there, but they're not red yet, so keeping an eye on them. But I was out in the garden yesterday, and I think I saw some snake eggs. That's what I think they are, snake eggs. I have to look them up, take a picture and look it up online to be sure, but that's what I think it was. And I found them in a couple places right near the base of the plants. Which, I mean, I think that tells you that I really haven't been out in the garden that much. If, you know, snakes think it's a good place to to, to have a family. Well, that's what happens, right? Um, Actually, things were seemed pretty good out there until we got all that rain, and then wow, everything just really jumped up, the weeds like crazy. So I'm going to work away on that and see what's going to happen. And I told my husband, I think maybe I'm going to have a fall garden this year. I usually don't bother to do that because I spend more time in the spring. And again, by uh, August, September, I'm done. I don't want to do anything. But I think this year I might see what happens with that. So I don't know. Every year is different. Every year we've got different things, different um, different circumstances, really. I mean, and that's something, that's a good thing to keep in mind. The idea that everything doesn't have to be the same. Just because you did something in past years doesn't mean you'll want to do it this year. You might want to do something different or move things around, and that's a good idea. When we get stuck in these kind of routines, we can kind of forget what the whole point is. And we're just doing things kind of blindly instead of thinking about what's going on. So the story I have about that is one that I heard a long time ago about a woman who was showing her daughter how to cook something. And I don't remember what it was. I think maybe it was something like meatloaf or something like that. And she cut the end off of it, just a piece off the end before she put it into the oven. And her daughter said, "Well, why are you doing that?" And she said, "I don't know, but this is my mom's recipe and this is what she always did." So they called the mom and said, "Well, okay, you told me this is what we had to do and this is part of the recipe. Why?" And she said, "I don't really know either, but my mom always did it, so let's call her." So they called the grandma and asked her, and she said, "Oh, well, my pan was too small, so I always had to cut the end off the meatloaf to make it fit." Um, Actually, it wouldn't be meatloaf, would it? It would be something else. something with a concrete size, maybe roast. I don't know. But the point is, right, that uh, a lot of times we're doing things because we were told that was the right way to do things, um, because we believe that that's part of, there's something intrinsic about doing that that makes it part of, uh, or the way to do that, right? That makes it sort of, you know, holy or or sacred, like it can't be adjusted or changed. Um, I had, when I first started gardening, the idea that you had to do things a certain way and you had to grow these certain things, and then I realized that my gardens were largely feeding the animals because people in my house wouldn't eat those things. I would eat some, but again, most people did not like them. So then I realized, well, what I really need to do is grow things that people will eat, right? And the things that they won't, I can buy, or the things that are easy to buy, um, maybe I don't grow them. Maybe I'll grow something that I can't get, or something unusual, right? So again, like it's a different way of looking at things, trying to find out what works for you instead of what everyone else is doing or what your mom did or your grandma or whatever that might be. Um, Things change, as we know, and I think this has been a good year for that, a good year for that example of how things change. Um, I know that uh, my father, grew up in the Depression, so he had a lot of ideas about that. That um, he was always the one that said, you know, be ready for when things get hard because things will get hard. Because he knew because he'd lived through that. Um, and I'm sure you've had people who've also lived through harder times. But there are some people, I think, that don't talk about those things or never really connected with people of that era. So they don't get that. They kind of think that this is how, uh, that things should always be easy, or another idea of, I remember my kids when we were homeschooling talking to them about history and the cycles of history and how they were like, well, one of my kids was interested in history. The other two were like, mom, who cares? It's just old stuff and what. And I'm like, yeah, it is old stuff, but it's the same old stuff, right? Over and over and over again. So if you want to know what's going to happen, see what has happened. Look at how we've worked through these situations before. So there's a comfort and routine to that, right? You can understand that hard times come and then they go and things are easier again. And it's a cyclical thing. Um, but we have to be ready for the change, and accepting of the change, doing things differently as is appropriate. So if you can't, if you couldn't get plants for your garden in the spring, you do it in the fall. And if you can't, um, if the weather's bad in the fall, then you wait till next spring. Maybe you take up some indoor gardening over the winter. There's always different ways to do things, different options. We just have to be willing to accept that change and to think outside of um, our maybe our comfort zone, right? We spent a lot of years doing things exactly the same way and thinking it was good enough, right? Um, and as it turns out, it was okay for some people, but there are a lot of people it really wasn't okay for. So maybe that's going to be part of the new change is we're going to get things a little better than we have before. I hope. All right, so moving forward with practice, think about what you might do to change how you do a pose that might make it better for you. Don't worry so much about how the pose looks, but think about how it feels. Does it feel right in your body? Is it what you need today? Might you need to move your arms in a different way, or maybe leave your arms down? Maybe your shoulders are bothering you. Again, there's no perfect or absolute way to do these poses. It's just a framework for you to figure out what's working for you today. So sitting up tall, shoulders relaxed, and breathing. One more breath. Chin down toward the chest. Just let the head hang here. And then moving around to make a big circle. One direction and then the other. And head back to center. Breath in, lean forward. Moving around. One way and the other. Back up to your seat. Arms wide. Deep breath in. Exhale, hands together. Inhale, bringing arms wide. Exhale, hands together. Inhale and exhale. Interlace the fingers, lift the hands, gaze up, and then arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. And lower. Lift. And lower. Lift the shoulders, roll back. And roll forward. Right hand on left knee. Sit up tall, take a breath, and then twist. Back to center, and switch sides. Tabletop. And let's move cat-cow, lifting up, lowering as we lift the head, and then lifting up the body. Set the gaze down. Inhales and exhales. And sitting back on the heels. Coming back up, tabletop to downward dog. Move around a little. Walking the feet up. We're here to fold. Rising up slowly. Standing tall. Lift the shoulders, roll back. Deep breath in and out. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, right foot steps back. Drop the knee, arms overhead. Hands to the mat, stepping back. Downward dog. Inhale, move forward to high plank, and then lower down. Inhale, lift, head and chest. Lower. Inhale, lift. And lower. One more. Inhale, lift. And lower. Moving back up. Tabletop to downward dog. Take one more breath. Then stepping up the right foot. Arms overhead. Hands down to the mat. Step the back foot up and fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Back to mountain. Breath in and breath out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, left foot steps back. Set your knee down. Arms overhead. Hands down to the mat. Step back. Downward dog. Inhale, move to high plank. And lower. Inhale, lift, head and chest. Lower down. Inhale, lift. And lower. Once more, lifting up. And lower. Moving back up. Tabletop to downward dog. Take one more breath. Then left foot steps up. Drop the knee, arms overhead. Hands down to the mat. Step the back foot up. Fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift. Arms high, and then we're back at mountain. Breath in and breath out. Let's lift the shoulders again. Roll back. Stepping out to the side. So we're facing side of the mat. Hands at the waist. Take a deep breath. And then lean forward. Hands can come down onto the legs or onto the mat or block, your choice. Just take a few breaths. Hands back to the waist. Engage the strength in the legs to help lift you up. Breath in, breath out. Turning. So you're facing the front again. Right leg is out, left leg behind. You can bring arms behind your back, interlace the fingers. Draw the palms together. Shoulders squeeze back. Take a deep breath. And fold. And then we're going to release the hands down to the mat. Shifting the weight over onto the right side, we're going to lift up the left. So you might just be lifting a little ways, right? You can set the foot back down if you feel like you're losing balance. Whatever you want to do. Just experiment with it. See where you are today. No expectations, just experiments. See how it goes. And then you can set the foot down, step the back foot up to the front, and let's just hang out in a fold for a few breaths. When you're ready, rising up slowly, arms overhead. Back to mountain. Breath in and out. Stepping to the side again, so you're facing the long end of the mat, side of the mat, I guess. Hands at the waist again. Deep breath. Fold forward. Keep hands at the waist, or you could grab your wrists or something here, or just bring the hands down. Your choice. Hands back to the waist, rise up slowly. Breath in, breath out. If you ever feel lightheaded after those sorts of inversions, just lift the hands up over your head. And then we're going to turn. So, actually, we're not going to do that yet. We're going to walk the feet in for your squat. Hands together. Breath in, bend the knees, lower down. Nice and upright. And rising up. Release the hands. Turning now. Face the front again with the left foot out. Right foot behind. Interlace the fingers. Shoulders back. Take a deep breath and fold. Release the hands down. In front, you can always use a block for this too. If you don't want to come down quite as far, that's fine. Shifting the weight over and then lifting up that right leg. And just, play with that. See how it feels today. You can step out and come back into it if you feel like you're not so stable. Keep breathing. And then set the foot down. We're going to step the back foot up to the front, be in a fold for a few breaths. Rising up, arms overhead, back to mountain. Take a breath. And let's work on a little more balance. So tree, standing on the left foot. We've got the right coming in, wherever things feel stable today. Rotate that knee out to the side, standing tall. You could extend the arms if that's going to work for you today, but if it's not, that's okay. Just keeping the breath, that nice upright posture. And then set everything back down, switch. So now we're standing on the right. We've got the left foot coming in, wherever it goes. Arms might extend. See how it feels today. So in all things, we need to make our adjustments. And then set the foot down, bicycle out the legs. And come on up, top of the mat. Lift the arms, lean back a little, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, stepping back. Downward dog. And then come on forward to high plank. And lower down. Head turns right, arms by your side. Relax. Bring your head back to center. We're going to leave the arms by your side, rest the palms. And then lifting up head and chest, lift the legs and the arms, breathe. Lower down, head turns left. And moving back to center. We're going to set up for Cobra. So we've got the elbows right close to the side, propping up on the elbows and the forearms. Maybe bring the feet a little wider on the mat. Pressing down, hands and feet. Squeeze the shoulders back. Breathe. Lower back down. Rest the head, chin or the forehead on the hands. Breathe. And then moving back up. Tabletop, child's pose. Back up, tabletop to downward dog. Walk the feet up, coming down to a seat. Soles of the feet together. Deep breath in, fold forward. Come back up. We're going to bring the left knee out in front. And we're going to bring the right foot to start just across here. So the foot is sort of resting on the mat. Left hand holding onto the knee, right arm behind you. Sit up tall, take a twist. Come on back to center. And then we're going to kind of extend this leg out a little bit. Moving into cow face. So one hand on either foot. Take a deep breath. And then maybe fold forward. So this might be enough without really even folding. And that's okay. You just want to feel that stretch to the outer part of the right hip and thigh, I guess. back up, and let's switch. Right leg is under, left comes over. Just set the foot down. Right hand on the knee, left arm behind, sit up tall, and a twist. Back to center. Gonna move that leg out a bit. Sitting up tall, and then folding forward. Coming back up, both legs out in front. Inhale, deep breath. Exhale, fold. Moving back up, bend the right knee. We're going to either set the knee down with the foot up against the thigh, or you could bring it up on top of the leg. It just depends how flexible you feel today. Deep breath in, whichever one you pick, and then we're reaching forward with that left arm. Moving back up. Switch your legs. Whichever you did on the one, do the same on the other side. Breath in, reaching forward. Coming back up. Both legs out. One more fold. Deep breath. Fold forward. Coming back up. Bend the knees. Soles of the feet are to the mat. And then we're going to lower down. Get comfortable here. And then let's hug that right knee in close to the body. Then we'll start lowering the knee out to the side. Keeping the rest of the body flat on the mat. Bring the knee back to center. And then we're drawing it across the body, rolling up on that left hip. Breathe. Moving back to center. Switch legs. And breathe. Lowering the knee out to the left. And then bring that leg back to center. Coming across the body, rolling up on the right hip. Back to center. Extend both legs long. Bend the knees. Soles of the feet to the mat. Press the hands down by your side. We're going to lift up. Looking into our bridge. Breathe. Lower back down. Soles of the feet together. Knees apart. Relax. And then let's just move into Shavasana from here. You could extend the legs long, or you could keep them, the soles together. Whatever feels like a good choice today. Steady with the breath. So it can feel a bit daunting sometimes, this idea that we need to reinvent our life every day, right? We need to do things differently. Um, and that's, you know, sometimes it's nice to think we could do things the same all the time and not have to worry about things being up in the air or undecided. Um, but if we really want to live a life that's reflective of who we are and what we need to be willing to make those choices, step out of what is the usual, and um, not be afraid to do that. Um, I should say you can be afraid, right? But do it anyway. Go beyond that. Go through the fear and through the uh, uncertainty, right? We do this with that strength that we find within. So if we are sure of who we are, that we are part of self, that we are all one, and we are looking within for that knowledge of what is the truth for us, we're going to make a good choice. We don't have to worry about our choices because we know they're going to be in alignment with our dharma, right? With our path. Even if that path looks very different from that of the people around you or your friends, family, but that's how it should be. Right? You didn't grow up in the same world that your parents did, or your grandparents, or your children, or your grandchildren. So your path is going to be unique. Theirs will be as well. And we need to find a level of comfort with that, a level of acceptance. We can't live anyone else's life but our own, and they have the same story. So when we expect everyone and everything to look the same, we are in error. That is not how things could ever be. If they ever looked like that to you, it's because people weren't living their truth. They were just covering up to try to be like everybody else. That culture of homogenized, where everyone sort of behaves the same and acts the same, is it's very toxic. It's very it shuts down diversity and people that want to do things their own way. Um, so we definitely want to avoid that as much as we can, and encourage others too. When you have people who, and you will, right? Your friends, your family, children especially, they'll talk about, hey, I want to try this. Hey, I want to try that. Do you shut them down? Do you tell them, well, that's dumb, or that's totally unrealistic? Why would you even think about doing that? Or do you say, sounds great, give it a try, see how that works out for you? Um, we need to be more encouraging and less discouraging. When you're ready, you start moving around a little bit. Fingers and toes, hands and feet. maybe moving over onto the right side, and then coming up to a seat on the mat. Bring our hands together, breath in and breath out. Thank you for sharing time here with me for some yoga, and I hope you have a really great Thursday. Namaste. Okay, well, that was Thursday's class. I'm going to move right into some meditation. If you want to join, just get comfortable. Breathing, relaxing the shoulders, close the eyes, find that focus on that space, right, behind the eyes or just in front of the eyes, that quiet space, the empty space. Notice thoughts, images passing by, but not focusing on them, just watching them pass by. So opening up the eyes when you're ready, just coming back into awareness. Hopefully that was good. I kept thinking about um, the snake in my garden. I don't know why, but my thoughts kept drifting back to that, and then I would sort of let that go, and it would come back again. So I don't know. I don't know what that's about. All right. Well, there's your Thursday, and I hope you have a good day, and I will be back tomorrow.